Hi, and welcome back to Sick Money, where we discuss all things related to finance. In today's episode, we're going to learn about a Farmer French three-factor model. In the episode, you're going to learn how to do a single and a multi-factor regression in Excel. You're going to interpret the regression output. You're going to determine the style of our Japanese equity funds through this multi-factor regression. And then we're going to wrap up with some final thoughts. So without further ado, let's get straight into this. So the first thing we need to do is download factor returns. The most simplest way to do this is to go to Kenneth R. French, or Farmer French, and download the factor return. He's kindly provided a long list of factor returns here. So in our case, we're looking at Japanese equity funds. So let's look at Farmer French Japanese three-factor. We download this ESV and we get all this monthly data. I'm going to use the last 10 years of returns. Let's scroll down. So I'm just going to look at these returns here. I don't like the date format, so we're going to do some converting of the date and these numbers here. So let's convert the date. So I'm going to use a formula called EO month, and I'm going to use the formula date. So we're going to put in the year, month, and date. So we're going to go left, and you'll understand why we use left in 1 second. So we're going to left of this cell, and we're going to take the 4 characters or digits here. So the 2012, so we get the year of 2012. Then we're going to go right. Select again the A275, and we're going to take the next 2. So that would give us 10, which will convert to October. Then we're just going to put 1 for the day, because our EO month is going to convert to the end of month. And there you go, that's the formula if you look at it. Pause if you need to. I might do a video on how-to videos for Excel on formulas, VUA program and other program launches called probably Sick Computing. If you're interested, comment below. So this date we're just going to drag down. So we've got a date, and then returns, I just like to have it in percentage format, so you can just divide it by 100. But you don't need to. As long as your fund returns are in the same format, it doesn't really matter. So we've got the Farmer French three factors and the risk-free. Now the next thing to do before we do the regression on the single and multi-factor and determine our style for our funds through this process is to calculate the excess returns. So I've got a load of fund returns here. Pardon me. These are fictitious. So we've got the Grande Japan Small Value Alpha, Tony Japan Select Small Value Fund, the Galaxy Triple Alpha Small Cap Value Fund. That'll be one interesting to look out for. The Healed Japan Small Cap Value Alpha and the Pearl Japan Small Value Alpha Fund. So we've got to calculate the excess returns. So we take the 31st of October 2012 Grande Japan Small Value Alpha Fund return of minus 3.94, and then we're just going to minus the risk-free for that month, which is here. Just going to lock the column with a $sign, so I can drag this across, and we get minus 3.95. We just drag this across, fill this down, so we've got the excess return. Now we're just going to select all these excess returns, and then paste them here. Paste values here. Now, for some reason, when I record, it doesn't really show some of the pop-up boxes when you do the return regression analysis. So what you're going to do is you're going to go select data. On the ribbon, there's a thing called data analysis. You'll select that. This pop-up window comes up, data analysis pop-up. you scroll down here to get regression, select OK, and in your input range you're going to put in your excess fund return. So your Grande Japan Small Value Alpha Fund, so I4 all the way to I124. And then in your x-axis, you're gonna, for this one, we're gonna single factor, which is CAPM market factor, and just gonna select the C4 to 124. So let me just do that. You're also gonna select labels because we've got the labels there, and then output range. You can put a new sheet. I've decided to put in O4, and then you're just gonna press OK here. And then what will match appear is your output will appear here. So it's not really explaining a single CAPM. It's not really explaining our excess fund returns very much. And if the important parts are here, so the intercept is the alpha. It's not significant on the t-stats and p-value. It's negative, and the market factor is 0.81. So not explaining our excess fund returns here. So what we could use is a Farmer and French three-factor model. So we're going to use the market factor, the small factor S, MB, and the value factor HML. So let's do the analysis again, and it's quite simply we're doing the same. So we're going data, market analysis, data analysis, not market analysis. This window appear, you select the regression, and now what we're going to do is we're going to change the X input. So instead of just the market factor here, we're going to go from C4 to E124. And we're going to keep the Y range on the Grande Japan Small Value Alpha. So let's click OK. And then again, you can see the R numbers gone up drastically. So explaining basically all of our excess Grande Japan Small Value Alpha fund return. So let's look at these important things. One, inset alpha is negligible and the t-stat p-value are insignificant. The coefficient of the market factor is nearly 1. So all these t-stats for the factors are significant. The coefficient for the small factor is negative 0.8. That suggests from this regression analysis that this is a large cap fund. And the coefficient for the HML value factor is 0.8, so it's a value. But in terms of our classification, we would classify this as a large cap value, and therefore it's not a small cap value fund. So it might have style drifted, and that's a thing that you don't want to happen to your fund. So let's see if we've got better luck with Tony Japan Select Alpha. Tony Japan Select Small Value Fund. Okay, so we do again. Data analysis. This thing will pop up. You'll select regression, and then you'll change your Y to the Tony Japan Select Small Value Fund. And so that's in J4 to J124. And so this fund, let's check the alpha. It's negative and nothing to write home about. The coefficient of the market factor is 1. Here the coefficient to the small factor is 0.9, so it's a small cap fund, according to this regression analysis. But the coefficient to the HML value factor is negative 0.7. So this is, in terms of this regression analysis, we'll classify this as a small cap growth fund, not what it says on the tin. Again, another fund that potentially could have style drifted here. So we're going to do it for now the three-factor regression, multi-factor regression for the Galaxy Japan Triple Alpha Small Cap Value Fund. This is going to be interesting. So data analysis, select regression here. Then you're going to change the Y input to the Galaxy Japan Triple Alpha Fund. So that's in K. So K4 to K124. Yeah. Let's see what we classify for this out. So again, the alpha intercept is negative. The coefficient of the market factor is 1. Here the coefficient to the small factor is 0.09, so very negligible. And the coefficient to the HML value factor is negligible at 0.09 as well. So in reality, this fund is really much a benchmark hugger or an index fund. Now, if you're paying a large amount of fees on this, you're basically getting the index, so it might be worth investigating whether it is an index fund, and therefore if they're charging you high fees, you might transition to an index fund and save yourself a bunch of money, or find a fund that's really adding alpha that's in a small cap value space. So let's try for the regression, three-factor regression for Health Japan Small Cap Value Alpha Fund. So again, you're going to do the same thing. Go to data analysis, select regression, then change the Y to the Health Japan Small Cap Value Alpha, which is in L. So let's see when we fire this off, what comes out. New regression here. So again, inset is negative. The coefficient to the market factor is 1.1. The coefficient to the small factor is 0.8. So it's a large cap according to this regression analysis. And then the coefficient to the HML value factor is negative 0.61. So this is pardon me, large cap growth. Again, another one that could be style drifting away from its intended purpose. So one last attempt, the Pearl Japan Small Value Alpha Fund. Again, we're going to do data analysis, select the regression OK, and then change the Y. And we're going to change the Y to M4 to M124. Pardon me. So let's look at I think it looks significant here. Yeah, so about 0.7. T-stat is significant, all of them are, and the p-value is significant. So we got a coefficient market factor of 1.1. The coefficient to the small factor is 0.9, so it's a small cap fund according to regression analysis, and the coefficient to the HML value factor is 0.95. So finally, we found a fund that is a small cap value that's added alpha. So let's wrap up with some final thoughts now. So first, this is just a simple regression analysis. There are a number of steps you can go further on this. One is to go in to look at the portfolio into more depth. So one is look at portfolio metrics over time. So we're looking at some value factors, some market cap factors, quality factors, so forth. factors that you think are important to you or to your fund. Look at them over time. Also look at the securities the fund has held over time as well, to see if there's any style drift there. Another way to go, which is more accurate than the regression output from here from a returns base, is to look at holding base. But for this episode, and it's beyond that scope, and it's a bit more complex, and many institutions can create this themselves, their bespoke proprietary models, or they would go and use a data provider that will create this for them and run all this analysis, and they've created all the number crunching and have all the licenses for all of the indexes they need to produce the factors. So that wraps up the end of this video. If you enjoyed the video, please like it, and if you like more videos like this, please subscribe. Wishing you a great day, and thank you for watching.